There is one question on the Duolingo English test that 99% of my students say they fear the most. Can you guess what it is? Well, you probably can from the title of this video. It is, of course, speak about the photo, and it looks like this on the test. It's the one where you have to describe a photo for 90 seconds. A lot of my students say that their mind goes totally blank when this question comes up. They simply do not know what to say, and they start to feel really nervous. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, if it does, don't worry, because today I'm going to fix this issue for you. But very quickly, before we start, if you're new here, hi, I'm Teacher Luke, and I help thousands of students every single month increase their Duolingo English test scores inside of my VIP score boosting program, just like Ikaro here, who increased his score from 115 all the way up to 140. And when I speak to my VIP students, 99% of them say that speak about the photo is one of the hardest on the test. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a 5-step structure you can use, which will help you to describe any photo naturally and confidently. Following this structure will also mean that you're able to speak for around 90 seconds quite easily, which will boost your score. Okay, well, let's get right into it. This is step 1. The summary. So here you want to start with a general overview. Simply answer this question. What is this photo about? And you can use one of these phrases to get going. A lot of students, I find, do not know how to even begin their first sentence. So if you use one of these phrases, that will help you just start to speak. And like I said, you just want to answer this question. What is the photo about? Aim to speak for around 10, maybe 15 seconds for this, so probably 2, maybe 3 sentences. Let me show you an example with this photograph here, and this would be a general summary. This photo shows a young woman studying, probably a student, standing at a brown table with several books in front of her. She seems to be in a wooden garden house with open windows all around her. Okay, after the general summary, we need to start talking about the details of the photo. So let's start that with step 2. Step 2 is who is doing what, basically the actions in the photo. And here we can describe what the people or the subjects are doing, and the grammar we'll use is going to be the present continuous tense, so verb with ing, which is good because that's an easy grammar to use. One thing to note, in English, when we describe a photo, we typically use the present tenses. Even though the photo was taken in the past, of course, we will use the present tenses to make our description. So keep that in mind. Let's use the same photo, and now let's go on to step 2, describing the actions. So who is doing what in the photo? She's focusing hard on her work or studies, and she's leaning over the desk with a serious expression on her face. I guess she's thinking hard about what she's reading. She's holding a pen in her right hand as if she's about to take some notes. Her left hand seems ready to turn the page of the book in front of her, and you can tell that she is completely absorbed in what she's doing. You probably noticed in step 2, I'm going into a lot more detail, and that's the point. Step 1 is just a general summary. You don't need to go into too much detail in step 1, but for step 2 and the further steps, this is where you go into a lot of detail. So in terms of the actions, you describe every action you see. The more, the better, just like in that example. Okay, now moving on to step 3, which is what is where, which basically means describing the location of things in the photo. Describe where people, items, or objects are located in the photo, and to do this you'll use prepositional phrases, which is good because those are high-scoring grammar and vocabulary items. Okay, again, let's take a look at an example with the same photo. The desk is covered with open books from left to right, and behind her right shoulder there's a bookshelf filled with even more books. In the background, through the big windows, you can see a beautiful green garden with trees and bushes, which makes the place look really calm and peaceful. All of the phrases that are bold, these are known as prepositional phrases, and that is the type of phrase you'll use to describe the location of things. So that's important for step 3. Take a look here. Here are a bunch of different prepositional phrases you can use. Take a photo or a screenshot of this, or if you join the VIP program, you can get this in a PDF. Make sure you study and practice using them. They will help you a lot when it comes to describing a photo. Now moving on to step 4. Step 4 is all about making a speculation. Speculation just means kind of guessing about what is happening, what has happened, or what will happen in the future. And to make a speculation, you can use one of these phrases you can see on the screen right now. Of course, there are lots of ways to make a speculation in English. These are just a few of them, but you can use these to practice. Now, when it comes to step 4, making a speculation, there's a really important thing you need to know. Your speculation needs to be closely related to the photo. You can't speculate too far beyond the photo because that might hurt your score for task relevance or content. So make sure you don't do that. Make sure your speculation is based on what you can see in the photo. I'm going to show you an example now of a good speculation, and then I'll show you a bad speculation to show you what I mean. If I had to guess, I'd say she's preparing for an important exam. She is clearly studying hard, surrounded by books, which makes me think that she might be doing some last-minute revision before her test. So that speculation is totally fine. In the photograph, of course, you can see that she is studying or working hard, and there are lots of books in the photo. So my speculation that I made just then is acceptable. Let me now show you one that would be completely unacceptable, but something I have seen my VIP students do. So I'm showing you this so you don't make this mistake and lose points. If I had to guess, I'd say she's preparing for an important exam. Probably to get into medical school because her parents have put a lot of pressure on her to become a doctor, even though she'd rather study music, which is her true passion. As you can see, that speculation is totally beyond the scope of what's in the photo. I'm basically just making up a story. Don't do that. Keep your speculation closely related to the photo, like I did in example number 1. Okay, now let's move on to step 5. Step 5 is simple. It's just some bonus details. Here you can describe smaller details of the photo, perhaps things that are not quite as important, things like clothing, weather, atmosphere, or mood. I call step 5 just bonus details. You do not need to do step 5, only do it if you have enough time. The other steps, in my opinion, are much more important because they cover the main details and the main point of the photo. But anyway, let's look at an example of step 5. She's wearing an orangey brown t-shirt with blue denim dungarees that have a big pocket on the front. Her outfit looks casual, but stylish at the same time. It's hard to be sure, but the weather seems nice, not too sunny or too cloudy, and it must be a warm day since she's wearing short sleeves and doesn't look cold. Those are the 5 steps in action. This is the answer in full if you want to take a screenshot. But if you are one of my VIP members, you can download this in the VIP portal under the describing a photo section. Okay, just one more thing I want to mention is that you do not need to follow these steps in this exact order. I do recommend you start with step 1 because that is a summary, an overview of the photo, but the other steps can be mixed and arranged differently depending on what you feel like or what you think is most important in the photograph you get on the test. So that's a structure or a blueprint that you can use to describe any photo on the Duolingo English test. Do you think it's helpful or not? If you think it is, right, it's helpful below in the comments. That would be great and that would let me know. Okay, we will start the 10 practice questions in just 1 second, but if you would like to study more with me, consider joining my score boosting program on vip.detready.com. Here I help thousands of students every single month increase their score by 10, 20, even 30 points. Just like Ikaro here, but also Nada, who went from 120 all the way up to 150. If that sounds good to you, then head over to vip.detready.com or click the link somewhere down here. Anyway, now for the rest of this video, we will be focusing on practice. I've got 10 photos for you and of course 10 answers as well. I do suggest that you actually speak out your answers because that is really good practice for you. As soon as the 90 seconds is up, I will show you my sample answers for you to analyze and to practice with. So let's get into photo number 1. This is a photograph of a modern shopping mall that appears fairly quiet, with around 10 people spread across 2 floors. In the middle of the image, several people are using the escalators. 2 people are going up, and 1 man is coming down while holding a white shopping bag. The woman near the bottom of the escalator is holding the rail with her right hand and looks like she's about to step forward. The man in front of her seems to be on his mobile phone as he rides up. On the ground floor, another man in a white t-shirt is leaning on a brown railing and looking down toward the level below. And, behind him, a few shoppers are walking around the stores. At the top left of the photo, there is a large bike shop with around 10 to 15 bicycles displayed in the window, and next to them is a poster, possibly showing someone cycling. Above the escalators, a hanging sign lists different areas of the mall, and at the top of the image, large glass ceiling which is allowing the natural light to come in. If I had to guess, I'd say this mall is located in a major city because it looks very modern, clean, and well designed. It also seems like a warm or sunny day outside based on the bright sunlight coming through the upper windows. This image shows a man and a woman sitting next to each other on a bench in a park, and they both look pretty upset. The woman is turning away from the man, and she's resting her head on her right hand, almost like she's frustrated. Her legs are crossed too. The man is leaning forward with his elbows on his knees, and he's holding his head in both hands while staring down at the ground. It looks like he might be crying. They're not talking to each other at all, and their body language looks really tense. There are brown leaves scattered all over the grass, and behind them there's a big open field with a few tall trees spread out. In the background, on the left side, there's a building under construction, and on the right, there's a tall white building that looks like a church or maybe a museum. There's also a narrow path that leads between the buildings and into the park. If I had to guess, I'd say these two people are in a relationship and have just had an argument or some kind of disagreement. The way they're sitting makes it seem like something emotional just happened. They're both wearing light jackets, jeans, and boots, which fits the autumn weather. With all the fallen leaves, the soft lighting, and the quiet setting, the whole photo feels a bit tense but also calm at the same time. This photo shows a woman either speaking or singing into a microphone in an indoor setting. She's holding the microphone with both hands. Her right hand is on the top of it, and her left hand is steadying the microphone stand. She isn't smiling or frowning, but she looks calm and confident, like she's performing a song or maybe reciting a poem. She's sitting down, probably on a stool, which is just off to the right side of the photo. The microphone stand starts on the left and stretches toward the right of the image. To the left of the image, there's a lit candle placed on a narrow candle stand that reaches up to about the middle of the picture. Behind her, the entire background is covered by a large black curtain, which makes me think this is happening in a small theatre or performance space. If I had to guess, I'd say she's performing in front of an audience, maybe singing something soft or reading spoken poetry, even though we can't see the crowd. Her relaxed body language and the setup around her make it feel like a live performance. She's wearing a brown scarf with wavy patterns, which matches the warm atmosphere of the scene. This photo shows a man playing a large piano right in the middle of a busy urban park. The pianist is sitting on a bucket of some sort with a cushion on top, which gives the scene a very casual, street performer feeling. The lid of the piano is open wide and pointing up to the right, and the man has his hands on the keys and playing his song. There are a lot of people in this park, and most of them are walking around, relaxing and enjoying the day. In the background, there's a huge fountain spraying water high into the air, and behind that, there are tall trees that fill up the top part of the photo. The pianist is right in the center of the image, and his backpack and a bottle of water are placed on the ground near his feet, which makes sense because it looks like a hot summer day. Interestingly, he's wearing all black, a charcoal or black shirt, black jeans, and black boots, and even his backpack and piano are black, which makes him stand out in the photo. If I had to guess, I'd say he's probably a professional busker performing for the crowd. His body language shows a lot of passion. With the bright sunlight, the busy crowd, and the fountain in the background, the whole scene feels lively and summery. This photo shows an absolutely stunning scene of two huge white cruise ships traveling through a long, narrow fjord. The whole place looks incredibly peaceful and almost unreal, like something you'd see on a postcard. The ship in the distance looks like it's already close to the little town at the end of the water, and the one following it is slowly making its way in the same direction. The water is surrounded by these massive, steep mountains on both sides, and they're covered in bright green vegetation. In the background, even taller mountains rise up with snow sitting on their peaks. There's also a small town is nestled right at the end of the fjord, and you can just make out some buildings, a few roads, and patches of bright green fields. If I had to guess, I'd say this photo was taken somewhere in Norway or another Scandinavian country because the whole landscape looks exactly like the famous fjords I have seen on travel websites. The atmosphere feels calm and refreshing, and the lighting tells me it's probably midday on a clear day because the mountains are well lit and the sky looks bright. It's a breathtaking scene that makes me want to visit and explore the area for myself. This photo shows a young woman painting in the middle of a big green park, and she looks really focused on what she's doing. She's holding a paintbrush in one hand and a palette in the other, and she's leaning slightly toward the canvas as she adds some details. She's sitting on a small wooden stool, and her easel is set up right in front of her. In the background, you can see a few people spread out across the park, but they're pretty far away, so the main attention goes to her. The whole area is filled with tall trees and bright sunlight, which gives the scene a warm, relaxing feeling. There's also a bottle of water on the grass next to her, probably because she's been out here painting for a while. If I had to guess, I'd say she's here to enjoy a quiet afternoon and paint the scenery around her. She looks calm and completely absorbed in her work, almost like this is her favorite hobby or something she does often. She's dressed for warm weather. She's wearing a light white dress, a loose brown shirt, and a straw hat. This photo shows a busy beach during a beautiful sunset. The sky is filled with warm golden light, and it reflects off the wet sand, giving the whole scene a soft glow. There are lots of people enjoying the moment. Some people are playing in the shallow waves, others are walking along the shore. The waves in the distance look pretty big, so I don't think many people would swim too far out there. All across the background, you can see small groups of people scattered along the beach. Some are chatting, some are splashing in the water, and others are just watching the sunset. In the center of the photo, 3 people are playing volleyball. The person in the middle is jumping with his hands up, trying to hit the ball toward the woman on the right. Another friend is standing on the left, watching the play. Just behind them, a person is with a surfboard under their arm, is walking straight into the water, maybe hoping to catch a few waves. If I had to guess, I'd say this is a warm, tropical beach because the atmosphere feels relaxed and summery. Everyone seems to be enjoying the last part of the day. With the golden light, the silhouettes of the people, and the calm mood, the whole scene feels really peaceful and full of that classic beach feeling. This photo shows a man pushing a food cart down a rainy street, and it looks like he's in a warm, tropical country. Maybe somewhere like Thailand or Vietnam. Even though it's raining, the whole scene still feels hot and humid. The man is holding the cart with both hands and walking from left to right. His cart has 2 wheels and a big blue umbrella on top to keep the food dry. On the front of it, you can see colourful menu signs, and there are lots of packets of food and stacks of paper or plastic bowls. The street he's on is lined with tall trees, and their branches are hanging over the top of the image. On the right side, there are several shops or small restaurants, and some of them have umbrellas outside, probably for customers. On the left side of the photo, there's a red box that looks like a mailbox, and above it, there's a folded red umbrella. If I had to guess, I'd say he's a street food vendor moving his cart to a better spot, maybe closer to a busy area where he can sell more meals. It looks like a normal rainy day in a Southeast Asian city, where people still go about their routines even when the weather changes suddenly. This photo shows a young woman studying, probably a student, standing at a brown table with several books in front of her. She seems to be in a wooden garden house with open windows all around her. She's focusing hard on her work or studies, and she's leaning over the desk with a serious expression on her face. I guess she's thinking hard about what she's reading. She's holding a pen in her right hand as if she's about to take notes. Her left hand seems ready to turn the page of the book in front of her, and you can tell she's completely absorbed in what she's doing. The desk is covered with open books from left to right, and behind her right shoulder there's a bookshelf filled with even more books. In the background, through the big windows, you can see a beautiful green garden with trees and bushes, which makes the place look really calm and peaceful. If I had to guess, I'd say she's preparing for an important exam. She's clearly studying hard, surrounded by books, which makes me think she might be doing some last-minute revision before the test. She's wearing an orangey-brown t-shirt with blue denim dungarees that have a big pocket on the front. Her outfit looks casual but stylish at the same time. It's hard to be sure, but the weather seems nice, not too sunny or too cloudy, and it must be a warm day since she's wearing short sleeves and doesn't look cold. In today's video, you learned a structure and you practiced with 10 photos. I hope this video is helpful. If you're still watching this video, write "I watched it to the end" in the comments to let me know. I'm always curious who watches these pretty long videos. Anyway, now you also need to practice the other speaking questions on the test, such as interactive speaking. So I recommend you watch this video now where I cover tips and strategies that can help you ace the interactive speaking question. I'll see you here right now.